Boom, boom, boom.
Hey.
Boom, boom, boom.
Ah.
Boom, boom, boom. Wednesday.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it is
Ah.
Wednesday.
The hump we got to get over today is me being like a robot.
Oh, now you're not like a robot.
No, I'm just
You're just tired.
yeah, a little robotic right now. Just at this very moment, I gotta shake it out.
So I have wild news.
What's your wild news?
We put up some links to the YouTube stuff yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up this morning and one of the comments was from a friend of mine in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the comments was from a friend of mine in India.
That's cool.
That's like all over the world.
Yes.
And I know there's some people out there going, "Oh, when are they going to do interviews?" It's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're testing the way the software works today.
Yep.
After not during, to try and
Figure out how it's gonna work
to not only
logistically.
talk to the people close,
Mm-hmm.
because we have a bunch of people we do want to talk to, and with it all does come back to a pandemic, doesn't it?
Right.
But with
Can't
everything
really
going
travel the
on,
world and talk to people during a pandemic.
but we want to travel around the world. We were just talking about going to Thailand.
Yep. In the future. Future
That
thoughts.
well, you're 18. I was 18 when I was there. I'm 50 now, and a lot less wise than I thought I was at the time.
That's funny.
It ends up the only point that was really wise in that moment was my ass.
What?
I was see,
Oh, wise ass.
I thought I knew everything. I did not.
That's funny.
It's the interesting thing about the path. It's like a long and winding road have I walked.
Mm.
It's got some weird places along the way that
That
didn't.
sounds like a Beatles song.
It's actually
Long and windy
it
road.
is a long and winding road.
Oh, so that's a Beatles song.
I think there's a Beatles song called "The Long and Winding Road."
Sounds like
Hey
one.
Google, is there a Beatles song called "The Long and Winding Road"? Hey Google. I'm sorry, our co-host is not responding.
Hold on, I got it.
Hey Google. Isn't it Google I'm supposed to say hey to? It's not talking to me today. It doesn't like me. So
Yeah, it's a Beatles song.
that one of the things that man that touched me, and you'll notice I'm a little full of energy today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not. I haven't. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't have plans. I've been letting things flow in a way that is just being present, and I've found these really interesting people that we're going to get to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And someday we'd like to even talk to some of them in person.
Yep.
Um,
That'd be fun too.
so our topic today,
Mm-hmm.
flavor. Do I have to say it, or are you going to say it?
Flavor Flav.
Yeah, 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 boy.
Alright, so please tell the people out there
No,
why I woke up an hour ago and you explained to me that we're doing Flavor Flav today.
first, tell me what you think of when you think of Flavor Flav.
The show.
Which one? Flavor of Love.
Yeah, that. I
Corny,
had.
hokey.
Huh?
Corny, kind of hokey, kind of
Yeah.
over the top.
I haven't really like given his music much
So no, I know not.
thought
So when you
or
picture Flavor Flav, what
much
do you picture?
excessive, flamboyant, just having fun, I guess.
And a clock,
Yeah, clock.
maybe some Viking
Probably
horns.
some drugs involved.
This is our lookout on Flavor
Um,
Flav.
yeah.
So we've kind of defined him in our head by his image.
Hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong, some of his images that he's gotten into a lot of trouble, and there's a reason why Chuck D doesn't have him around anymore. They got in a fight over Bernie Sanders of all things.
Mm.
Um, but this is what brought us here today. Flavor Flav plays 15 instruments. He could naturally pick up instruments. They were so easy for him. He played 3 instruments before he, I believe, dropped out of high school, if I remember correctly. Then went and hung out with Chuck D over at college.
Mm-hmm.
But if we slow down, obviously we see a man struggling with something.
Yeah.
I think some of what he was struggling with was he had this image he had to portray, that you get lost in the
Mm,
character. I think that's one of the possible outcomes, is
right.
that, so I like to say nobody is a single note, everybody is a symphony. I know it's,
Is Flavor Flav the Michael Jackson of rap?
is Flavor Flav the Michael Jackson of rap? Well, isn't that an interesting question? So it was Jesus powder as opposed to cocaine. Oh, don't worry, children. I'm just having a
Oh
little,
my
little bit of my
god.
Jesus powder. That's why I keep it in my Coke can. No.
In my Coke can.
Well, you know, Michael Jackson
He's
was,
sponsored by Pepsi, or was.
maybe it was a Pepsi can. I forget.
It
Michael
would be a
Jackson was
Pepsi
known for
bottle.
walking around with Jesus juice in his cans. He
Really?
drank wine all day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There was a lot of, so you look at either of these people and there's a ton of self-medication.
Yeah.
There's a ton of a walk we've walked of
Well, I know
trying
at
to,
least towards the end he was doing a lot of sleeping pills so that he could sleep after being up all day and
that
practicing all day.
that you run, well, but different medications, but people trying to hide
People trying
from.
to, yeah, that's why I made the connection,
No,
because
no, I agree.
you had immediately started talking about, oh, this guy's trying to hide who he is, and I immediately thought about the
Well, and
conversation we had earlier
we'd had
about
about
Michael
Michael Jackson.
Jackson. So
Well, and then I brought
yeah,
up our earlier conversation about Martin Luther King that's
right,
currently up on YouTube,
right.
if you want, on our YouTube channel, Studio 586B. This is not a plug.
this this is not a show.
This is not a love song. This is not a love song.
It's so bad.
That's Public Image Limited, man. You
It's
can't do
so
Johnny Rotten
bad.
like that. It's so bad.
I don't like it.
You know what? It had its
I wanted
moment.
to like it, but I don't.
I understand. Another
It's
person
okay.
with some troubles and some serious self-medication. And actually kind of fits.
Mm,
So he's a guy. Johnny Rotten's a guy that gets stunk in I'm a Punk.
mm,
Not stuck, but it's a piece of his image that becomes his whole image.
right.
Like, I think of somebody that's dealt with this better as, like, we all know Keanu Reeves as Keanu Reeves, like, as a really good guy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's memes endlessly of him giving up his seat on the subway, and
Right.
that he,
Doing good things. I
oh,
think he
you
I
know
think
what
he I think he rode his bike around New York or something like that.
you know who
Like,
another one is that I think might be stuck?
who?
Johnny Depp.
Definitely. Definitely. He's like stuck in the wacko guy that like I don't it's weird because Johnny Depp always seemed like such a cool person to me. So
So,
it was always weird in my head that he got stuck in these roles of like the macabre and just the strange. Like
right, he's
strange
an
people.
amazing actor. Have you
Yeah,
ever seen
he
Who
really
Ate Gilbert
is.
Grape? If you
Yeah.
want to see Leonardo DiCaprio and
Yeah.
Johnny Depp at
Oh
their
my gosh.
ultimate,
No. When I watched that, I was like, how did they not give Leo and Johnny some type of
how
award for
did
this?
Leonardo DiCaprio not get an award for this when there were literally people asking how did they get that disabled child to do such an amazing job?
Like if I didn't know it
We
was
know now,
Leonardo
but at the
DiCaprio,
time it was a
if I would have
breakout.
watched that and not known that it was Leonardo DiCaprio, I would have actually thought that he was a disabled child. Like that happened to be an actor. Like I would have believed that.
Oh, I get, yeah.
Um yeah, it's crazy to me. But yeah, people definitely do get typecast in, like, people get stuck in a box, and a lot of times it's hard to break out of that box once you've been nailed down.
Right. So, and I mentioned one of the
Mhm.
things that came up was our discussion about Martin Luther King.
Mhm.
That icons,
Mhm.
um, the people we think we know, we don't really know.
Mm.
We define them in a way that makes them more or less human,
Mhm.
which denies us the fact that that's approachable, as
Right.
opposed to not continuously we put people in little boxes that makes it so we don't see the rest of their flavor. Well, but to some extent I started thinking about, we'll see the meat of a person. We'll define them by this thing that we know that's big.
Mhm.
but we don't see any of, and it was the Flavor Flav metaphor that got me, was we don't see any
Hmm.
of the flavors. We don't see any of the things that make something real.
I even got one for you. Designer. He's a rapper.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things I like to take deep dives into like interviews and stuff like that, and
Okay.
try and figure out like who people are, to some extent. And one of the things about Designer, he's known for being happy and being overly out there. So a lot of people thought he was like autistic or something, because
Okay.
of the fact that like in some of his interviews, like literally he's like super hyper and super excited, and it's like, why are you so excited?
He's dealing with
So
his anxiety, yeah.
one of the things he was talking about, like he was in some interview, I can't remember where it was, but he was being serious, and he was talking about how he went,
Just a little bit.
he was talking about how he went through um some depression, like in earlier in his life,
Okay.
and to overcorrect that, like to fix that, he decided, hey, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna try my best to be happy, and
Okay.
I'm gonna try my best to be excited, and blah 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 blah. And it's crazy to me that people like saw him as this person who's like maybe mentally challenged, just because he was trying to fix the fact that he didn't like his surroundings. He didn't like how he felt.
Oh, I
Um
get that.
so it's just interesting to me how people can see things a certain way, but they can actually be a different way for
Oh,
that person,
absolutely.
you know?
That perspective. People are struggling. How they display it is,
Right.
an interesting piece because we look at all of these people and they're defined by a simple thing. Yet we all can look back through their lives and know there was huge struggle.
Mm.
That, I mean, whether it's Martin Luther King or Flavor Flav, we define them simply in our head because that's what our head's really good at.
Mhm.
But we do that to everyday people too.
Yeah.
That we discount large pieces of another human being based on just defining them. It doesn't have to be as simple as what
It's
race you
hard.
are, what gender you are, what sexual preference it is. We'll define people in our heads immediately. So risk assessment is what our head does.
Mhm.
So we define everybody on a risk scale
Yeah.
as opposed to seeing them as a human with a perspective
Mhm.
just like ours, not in the sense of the same, but
So
in different.
one of the things I found a little bit easier, one of the things
Go
I
ahead.
found that helps a little bit with like judging people. Um I'm not the best at this cuz I don't always do it, but essentially I like when I think about a person,
Mm-hmm.
and my first thought is I don't really know what's going on with oh my
I'm
god.
listening.
I don't really know what's going on with them, and I don't really. Oh my god, I can't talk seriously with that. What the? Why?
Just keep talking.
Why?
You're fine. Why? What? Why are you judging my math?
Because it's a mask, man.
So, but you're judging how you know. Like, okay,
Okay,
but this is
okay.
this person. When you define somebody that way, I mean, come on.
Oh my god. Okay. What I was trying to say.
Hulk smash.
No, what I was trying to say is
Hulk smash.
no.
Okay, go
What
ahead.
I was trying to say is you shouldn't define people.
Right.
What you should do is, okay, you should assess whether or not you like what this person has going on from what you can tell.
Right. So if I
So,
so if I have resting Hulk face, you shouldn't just assume.
what is resting Hulk face?
It's like resting bitch face, but for guys.
Guys have resting bitch face.
Well, I know, but I wanted to manly it up a little bit. I didn't have a bitch mask. I'm
Resting Hulk.
sorry. I had a Hulk mask. My
Oh my
point is,
god.
though, time and again, so what we see of people
Uh huh.
is the mask. All you can focus on now is the mask, isn't it? It's all
Yeah.
you see.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it defines me. but but do you get what I'm
Okay.
saying? So
Yeah.
we do this to everybody automatically.
Uh huh.
When we see Flavor Flav, we see the clock, we see, the
Oh my god.
oh, where is it? You know what? We see this. We see the clock. We see everything. We see,
Mhm.
but we don't see him.
Mhm.
When you look at Michael Jackson, you don't see him.
Mhm.
When you look at designer, you don't see his struggles.
Well, the thing is, I think the only way you can see someone, so to speak, is to like speak to them and try to understand them to some extent. I don't think you can understand a person from like this social media stuff or like the things that they choose to put out
My
there
best, the my
or
best,
the
my
clips that
best
get
life
out of
lie.
them.
Yeah, the my best life
Like
lie.
what?
Well, so when you go to YouTube or when you go to Facebook or any of those places, what you're getting is the my best life lie,
Mm,
and the I'm a victim lie too. The
mm-hmm.
extremes.
Well, to some extent, I think, okay, I think it's possible to get a good grasp of who someone is through social media. However, I think it's a lot easier to hide who you are through social media. Like you can create a persona that's nothing like you, and literally that can be who you are to other people, as opposed to if you're speaking to people and conversating with people and you're like interacting with people, who you are is going to come out naturally. Like if you're a bit of an a-hole, it's going to come out. If you think you're
I
better than
think
people, it's
so,
going to come out in the way
but
you talk to
you're
people
still
and the way you
judging people.
conversate.
It's the
No, no,
mask they're
no.
willing to share.
Yeah.
That
I think that there are people that are better at doing it in person. I'm just saying social media makes it so much easier to like hide and build up a persona separate from yourself.
separate from yourself.
Yes.
So,
Whereas a conversation with a person, you can't really build up a persona really.
well, and that's the thing, that even in a conversation with a person, we're putting on masks.
Right, right,
That the hard part is in your day to day when you think about it, so often we spend the majority of our time thinking about what is not the right answer, but the right answer for this person.
right. And to some extent that even reveals a bit about yourself because of the fact that you're willing to compromise what you're willing to say for another
For
person.
compassion.
For
Well, yeah,
compassion,
no, I and
for
I
being
get that.
seen, for them liking you, so to speak.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, are you being compassionate to yourself then?
Oh no, no,
So that we
you're
get
not.
caught in this. I keep coming back to masks. I even stole the Hulk mask from a small child. I know it was wrong. He doesn't know it's here. He hasn't even noticed. No, it's not my grandson. He would just give it to me. It was one of the other kids. But anyway, he's got more masks upstairs though, man. I got masks for days. We all do. The reason I have masks around is to remind me we're all wearing masks all the time.
Mhm.
To be here, to be in the moment and not wear my mask. And to see people for more than just their mask.
I'm definitely a big believer in Freudian slips,
I
and
like the way they look on
I
women, but they've gone out of style. They don't even wear them under dresses anymore. Oh, wrong? Was that...
wrong. Read the room.
Read the room.
No, but no, I'm really big on the idea that like who you are will come out in conversation, no matter what. Like it's
I think you're right, but I think
it,
often
I think there are people that are so good at building up a persona that yes, they can hide who they are. They can become something else and they can really fool people into thinking that they're something else and it won't show who they are. But I think for the most part, by and large, most people aren't really that good at it.
well, I so it comes to mind. This is a weird combination. Tom Cruise and Robin Williams.
Okay.
I think we're all aware of Robin Williams having incredible struggles with depression, but we didn't find out till much later, and that had been going on his whole life.
Mhm.
He had a persona that
Mhm.
it helped if there was some Jesus powder involved. Um, but the man behind the mask was sad.
Right.
That with Tom Cruise, his public persona seems paper thin enough. I know that there's a lot more there.
Well, my my argument around that is
Mm-hmm.
that they are a small part of the population.
Well, okay, so
And I think
obviously
I
I'm
think to
picking
some
out
extent
people
I
based
think to
on
some extent to
representative
get to
metaphor.
that point, you have to be able to build up a persona. There's a difference between the average person who you're
Okay,
conversing sorry. I think that there's a difference between the average person that you're conversating with and
So
Someone who's able to build up a persona for people to be interested in.
that to some extent they've got professionals that are involved with what they're
Definitely. And it doesn't really matter what field you're in, music, comedy, acting, it's all building up a persona for people to enjoy.
so in argument against this, I give you Bill Murray and Keanu Reeves,
Okay.
who have chosen to not do that.
I think that's an even smaller part of the population.
But I think that's the most. I think that's who
That
we're all.
yeah.
But I think okay. I know I'm a broken record.
Mhm.
I really do know this.
Mhm.
I think everybody,
Mhm.
everybody, every living thing is just looking for a place to exist
Yes.
as themselves,
Yes.
as who they truly are. Because when you drop those curtains,
Mhm.
when we all quit pretending we're Oz behind the curtain
Mhm.
and we come out, we
Mhm.
realize that we were never alone, that we were sharing this hard experience.
Yeah.
As opposed to we're trying to show this image that doesn't admit the fact that we share something.
Well, I definitely think that every person deep down wants to be seen. But I think to some extent certain people have lived lives that taught them the idea that there's something wrong with who I am, or I maybe I don't need to be seen, or like they've built up these expectations
Right.
of who they are,
In their own head.
and because of the fact that they don't like it, they deny it. So
Oof.
they build up a persona in order to get away from who they are. And I think some people, like, I think people that get famous and people that get are really really talented at this one skill,
Right.
a lot of times they're either people that got so good at building up a persona and building up a mask that they get past everyone, or they're people that are so good at being themselves that they get past everyone.
Well, because
I think it's one of the two.
what Flavor Flav hit me with was the idea of his persona crushing him.
Mm.
That was the way when I saw it, I was like, wow, here is this amazing musician.
Mhm.
Like I said, it's the quote that I've got from Chuck D. That you know what, you guys don't even realize he can play 15 instruments. So that because I think
Mhm.
Chuck D desperately wanted to bring him out,
Mhm.
and that it was a horrible disappointment that he fell apart. That I don't think Chuck now militant Chuck D, but what amazing. I mean, Public Enemy, man. We're talking iconic.
I will be honest, I did not know who Chuck D was until you said Public Enemy.
Well, this is Public Enemy.
Okay.
Professor Griff, Prof Griff, and then there's one more guy. I apologize. I did really have all of this today, at one point.
Mhm.
That that that's what I think happens to rappers that die young a lot of times. They're crushed by their persona. They're living a life they don't even have to live anymore. They're pushing in a way, but they feel I've got to keep up my cred.
I don't always think that's the case with rappers that die young,
But I think some.
but I think sometimes, yeah, definitely.
Terminator X. Sorry for getting you, brother. Professor
What?
Griff, Terminator X, Chuck D, and of course Flavor Flav. Sorry.
Wait, Flavor Flav was in Public Enemy?
Flavor Flav was the frontman for Public Enemy.
I feel like horrible for not knowing that. Like, I
He's-
feel
he's-
like I can't even
he's-
claim that I listen to hip hop music anymore.
He's the hype. He's the hype in the front, jumping around.
Really,
Yeah,
that's how have I never noticed that before?
that Chuck D is the so.
How?
Chuck D actually finished college and studied a ton of stuff and is an amazingly
Talented.
brilliant
Yeah.
guy musically and also intellectually.
Right.
I don't know how to express my reverence for Chuck D.
Mm-hmm.
But the wisdom of having Flavor Flav in the front
Mm-hmm.
is that you kind of tone it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in your face, but it's in your face.
Mm-hmm.
I promise I won't put up the swirly Flavor Flav again. 'Cause, man, that's just eye hurting.
Is
but
it? I thought it was
no, now
nice.
it's just us.
I
It's
thought it
just
was
us.
nice.
I know, I liked it too, but I didn't make it huge and mess with people's eyes. Maybe at the end.
Okay.
Maybe that's what we'll put
Maybe.
up at the end is a giant Flavor Flav. I could do that. I know how to do that.
That's.
But so in our head, when we define people,
Mhm.
when we define anything, this
Okay.
is where it gets me. When you define when you're sticking it in a point, and that's not the way it works.
Yeah. I. To some extent, I can't. I can't build up an expectation of who people are. At least from what I see from so I can't keep building up an expectation of people that I do not know.
Well, the other thing is, part of our expectation is their judgment of us. We're wearing the mask because we've decided they don't want to see us.
Run that
We're
back.
okay. One of the things we're most worried about, our expectation of the judgment that's going to come from people outside of us. So as opposed to even someone over here is judging you before they judge you, because we learned this, you go, okay, what's the right mask to put on before I go in this room?
Yeah. That's why I'm saying I can't build up an expectation of what
This one will
for
make
all
things easier. Do
I
you need a
can't.
loan?
No, I can't.
I have a mask for you to get a
No,
loan.
I'm
A
okay.
loan mask.
I don't like masks.
You know, a loan mask.
I don't
A
like
loan mask?
masks. A
No,
loan
no,
mat?
no
What?
mask. Oh, okay.
Like Home Alone?
No, like I figured if you had to go to a bank, this would help you get a loan.
No, it wouldn't.
Well, no,
No, it wouldn't. No,
I
they
was.
would think you're trying to rob them.
I thought I could upgrade your
No,
skin tone for
no,
better loan applications.
no. That wouldn't.
They
No,
wouldn't be like, oh, white dude, here's some
they
money.
would definitely think I'm trying to rob them. And
Oh, I got my head off. My head's going.
What are you talking about?
I
It's
stood
okay.
up just enough that my head was cut off.
Okay. Yeah. I can't build up an expectation of what for all I know could be a mask. I have to wait until I have conversations with these people and get to know them as people and talk to them in a setting that's not talk to them
So what
in
you're
a
saying
setting
is
that
if Flavor
hopefully
Flav's out there, we want to talk to him?
oh yeah, of course. No, like I wanna wait until I have a conversation with this person so that I can assess whether or not I want to hang out with this person. You know, I mean, yes, I'm gonna have favorites and I'm gonna have ideas of who the people are. Like honestly, I really would like to hang out with Keanu Reeves. But at the same time, I haven't hung out with him. I haven't had that conversation with him. So for all I know, I could have a conversation with him and halfway through I could be like, I don't really want to hang out anymore. It could happen. I'm not saying that about Keanu. I love Keanu. He seems like such a cool person.
Here
But
I am hanging out with somebody. I'm like, oh, you're kind of a one-trick pony. Can we stop talking about speed, please?
what Speed? Is that a movie?
It's a movie. The funniest thing would be like, okay, so you finally get to talk to a celebrity, right?
Yeah.
And you're in your head, you're going, okay, I'm not going to ask these regular questions.
Right.
I'm not. I want to talk to this person as a human being, right?
Right.
And you start talking to him, and all they're willing to talk about is Rampart.
What's that?
They're like, well, yes, but we're here to talk about Rampart.
What's Rampart?
Why are you not talking about Rampart? This forum is for talking about Rampart.
What is Rampart? What are you talking about?
Listen, I'm Kiefer Sutherland, and I'm here on Reddit for one reason. I get that you have other questions, but all I'm willing to talk to you about is Rampart.
Okay.
My point is, how funny is it if so you finally get to sit down with a celebrity and you're being real wise about your questions, and all they'll talk about is the one movie they made that you hate but they love, and they go on and on about it.
I definitely like. I meant meeting people in person.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
No, I
of
agree.
course.
What I was saying. Okay, so Oh, I get to meet these people. I'm so excited. Man, I'm gonna keep myself under control though.
It's like doing
Right,
it. It's like doing an interview versus like. It's like the celebrity coming in to do an interview to do a promo for this thing that they're doing versus, I just want to talk to you.
But my point is
having a conversation.
So you just want to talk to somebody and you're trying to just have a conversation. Yeah. You're the one that's doing it right. And the thing. But no matter what you do, Shia LaBeouf won't talk about anything but Transformers. Like you ask him a question and he relates it to Transformers and everything is. Hey, any celebrity out there, you should do this to people to just screw with them.
No,
like when they go, wow, I really,
idea.
You know what, you've changed my life. You're go, yes, but
annoy people.
But have you seen Rampart? I mean, Rampart.
You're gonna annoy people. That's annoying.
That would be annoying.
Yeah, that'd be annoying. It's like how you feel about people getting on their phones when you're talking to them.
Right.
Cause it's like, dude, I'm trying to have a conversation with you person to person, and you're talking about this thing that you're doing, and it's annoying. Like, to some extent, that might be the reason why I have a hard time bringing up my music around people, because I'm like, I don't want
I
to talk
hate
about
it.
my thing. Like, I just want to have a conversation with this person as a person and get to know them as a person. You know, like, I don't want to.
I desperately need support for the nonprofit organization, right?
No, of
No,
course,
no, no. Listen,
yeah,
listen. No,
of
no. That's what
course,
I'm
but
agreeing with you. No, I feel the
yeah,
same. Like, I can't look at people and go, "Hey, can you help?"
right,
I have trouble
right,
with that.
right.
I'm honest in saying, man, that's same thing. I feel like I'm. Hey, look at my horn.
You don't know how bad like I feel when I talk to someone I haven't talked to in a really long time, and they're like, "What have you been up to?" And then I start like, and I'm like, dang it, I'm gonna have to tell them about this thing I've been doing for the past couple months, and then they're gonna want to see it, and then I'm gonna kind of feel like, dang, I came in this with bad intentions, even though I just wanted to talk to them. Like,
Oh,
I just
right.
wanted to talk to you. That's
It's
it. That's all
so
I wanted, man.
I'm on this path where like I'm kind of letting it. I'm building relationships with
Yeah.
people with no intent.
Mhm.
I'm not attached to things currently.
Mhm.
Is my goal,
It's the goal.
and I feel like approaching people and going, "Hey, um, can I talk to you about Jesus?
I'm sorry.
Can I stop?" It feels like knocking. Hello. We are here today to talk to you about Krishna. Hari, Hari
Oh wow.
Krishna. But you know
No,
what?
but it
I
does
feel
feel
like
like it.
I'm, especially on my end, because it's
No,
some of
it,
some of the stuff I talk about is obviously very about I'm thinking about deep
spirituality and
stuff,
thoughts and
man.
stuff like that, man.
Quantum physics, you know, compassion. What? Anyways,
No, but it definitely feels like I don't ever want people to think that I stopped caring about them as a person, and I don't ever want people to think that my intentions are to come into this conversation and get something from them. And I hate that. I hate when a conversation turns into that and I feel it happening.
oh, I know. Well, okay,
And
so
I don't know if it's all in my head or if they're
yeah,
looking at it like, "Oh, so you just wanted to talk to me to talk about your thing, huh?"
but that's not true.
You know, like it's like that's
Yeah.
not what it is at all. I just wanted
You
to talk
don't
to you.
you don't want to come across as defined just by your Viking hat.
Yeah, you don't want to come across as the thing that you try to show the most. You want to be seen for who you are and what your intentions were, as opposed to what came
Bro,
across.
yeah. Well, because
Like,
the reality is, in order for this to work, we have to think about kind of promotional things. I
yeah,
need a lawyer to write up the nonprofit organization paperwork. I need funds to keep
yeah.
the studio open.
To
And
some extent,
but
to yeah, to some extent, I know I got to get over that, because at some point I'm gonna have to just walk up to people and be like, "Hey, have you heard about my show?"
well, but
Or like, I don't know, like it. Even saying that feels weird, and there's
I
not a person in front of me to say it to.
I don't want to look at old friends and go, "Hey, I know we haven't talked in a while. I haven't been the best friend. I really care about you. Let me listen to your stuff." And oh, by the way,
Talk yo talk, yes,
because
all the
I'm
way.
not there for oh, by the way.
All the way. I'm
I'm
not
there
there for the
because
oh by the way. I'm there
I'm not
for
attached to an outcome. I'm there to I want to see my friends and
I'm there
support
for
them
I
and show what
haven't
good at
had a
that.
conversation with this person in maybe years.
Right,
So
right.
like I don't want you to think that I'm just trying to shove my thing in your face. Pause.
Well, I'm telling you, it is like a giant thing staring at my face. That I'm looking at this microphone like I don't know. There's something going on with that. I don't know. Anyways,
The funniest part is this
the,
this is gonna make no sense audio wise.
but the reality is, no,
Anyways.
we don't want people to feel like we're shoving our thing in their face. But that's what it feels.
No, but
That
seriously,
defines it
that's
better.
that's
That's how
literally
it
what it feels
feels.
like. That's literally
It's
what it
like,
feels
hey,
like. It's
can I
like,
get a
hey,
little kiss? But
You know?
that's not who I am. So
Right, right.
how do you?
I hate the fact that I feel like, because I literally am seeking attention, but I don't want to be seeking attention from certain people.
No,
Like I don't want to be seeking attention from this person. I just want to talk to them.
I am
It's a different thing,
notorious
you
for
know?
preferring to pull the strings from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I
So
like to run the world. I used to. Okay, I'm calming down, but in a way that everybody else could take credit for it.
yeah.
I don't need the credit.
Yeah.
That I don't care if anybody
No,
knows who I
because
am.
the part of it is every time I got credit, I felt weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Every time like I did a project and everybody was like, "Well, we all did this, blah 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 blah, blah, and Ross did this part, blah 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 blah." Every time they bring up my part, I'm like
Right?
I'm like,
I
oh,
feel it.
"Okay.
Oh, the
That's
spotlight's on me. I'm good. No, I
yeah."
don't.
As soon as it's my turn to talk, I'm like, "Okay, here we go."
Right.
And sometimes I shine and that's fun, but most of the time I don't enjoy the spotlight.
Right.
And
But then you're called by it too.
exactly,
So
at the same time you're called by
I feel called to change the world, but I would prefer to do it from my cave.
it.
I've said for years, you know what? If they still had jobs where like a philosopher went and lived up in a cave and just kind of hung out there and
They paid him to
people
live in a
well no,
cave.
people would occasionally come and ask
Yeah.
questions,
Yeah.
come see the crazy dude that lives up in the cave and he'll,
Mhm.
maybe send me the occasional meal or co-ed. I don't know. Back then that was my thought. I'm kind of distanced from all of that these days.
I definitely think I would have done well in the with the Greeks.
With the Greeks,
I think I could have
you
hung
like the
out with
butt
the
stuff?
Greeks. No, not
Oh, I
that
thought that's
part.
what the Greeks were known for. Oh, the
Not that part.
philosophy is
The
what you're about. Okay.
philosophy. What are you talking about?
Right? Greek philosophy
Yes.
on butts.
Jesus.
No, Jesus was later. That was Rome. That was the Romans, not the Greeks.
Oh, I should have said Hippocrates.
Don't make me bust a Play-Doh over your head.
I mean Socrates. There's this guy who says I'm Hippocrates because
Hippocrates.
I'm a hypocrite and I'm
So we
it's funny.
struggle with not wanting to so we started off with an icon crushing the person underneath it.
Yeah.
We've talked about the different ways of dealing with that. And now we're really back at how it feels from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really always comes down to how does that it's hard to feel like what you need to do is promote yourself. Now, I guess some people it comes easy, but for both of us, it's one of those things where you're
Yeah.
like, I'm proud of what I'm doing.
Oh yeah, of course.
Actually proud of what I'm doing on a level I've never achieved before in my life.
Trust me, I feel so much better when someone reaches out to me and they're like, "I've seen everything you're doing, blah 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 blah. I'm so happy
Oh,
for you."
it's the
It
best
takes
feeling in the
all
world.
of the weight off of me.
It's like, you already know I'm an idiot.
right?
You already know I'm gonna be
No,
goofy.
no, cause then literally I can just have a conversation with you without feeling like I have to shill my thing eventually. Like, because what ends up happening is I'll have conversations and it'll feel like a weight because it's in my mind, and eventually I know eventually it's gonna come up because that's naturally how
Oh,
my
just a little.
conversations go. But still, it's it's hard to it's hard to deal with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what do you say when people say, "What can I do to help?" What do you say? I don't know what to say. And
I'll be honest, I haven't gotten that response yet. But
well, but I do get that
it's
response, and I don't feel comfortable looking at, well, hey, money. I'm not gonna hit up monks in India for
trust
money,
me, if I
obviously.
got that response, I'd probably money would be the first.
Well, but
No, I'm just joking. I'm just
the
joking.
problem is support, whatever that means to somebody, is the
Right.
problem.
Right.
I mean, yeah, the problem is I also believe you can't help anybody unless you ask them how they can be helped. And
Right.
I'm trying to find an answer that isn't just, well, I'm trying to start a nonprofit. It's not very profitable. which is just exhibiting the
Yeah.
truth, but not like, you know.
Yeah.
So, what it comes down to
Mhm.
in the end, because all things must come to an end,
All good things must come to an end.
we can see how people become a single point by which we define them. Martin Luther King,
Mhm.
Flavor Flav, Keanu Reeves,
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. That I don't think anybody wants to be thought of as one thing. I think that's what crushes Flavor Flav. Or, Bob Ross hated his hair by the end because he
Mm.
had to do it because that was the icon. Got to keep the hair.
Right.
Um, we want to be seen as whole, just like
Yeah.
we believe everybody
We
else
want to
wants to be
be
seen as whole.
we want to be seen as us, and to some extent when so much of what people love about you isn't even something you can identify with,
Oof,
you really have a
oof,
hard time.
oof,
Like, you really have a hard time just like I literally
oof.
had I had a friend talk to me, right? And this was a friend from middle school, and like he was telling me like, "Oh, uh I was telling him about like my dating life." And he was
Hold
like,
on. Pause for laughter.
"Pause for-" That was mean, man.
That was mean, man.
um
Why you could be like that, man? Why you could be
why
like
you
that,
gotta be
man?
like that? Nah, but basically like he was telling me how from his perspective I talked to all of the girls, because I did. I talked to them. I had conversations with them. Doesn't mean they went well. Doesn't mean they liked me. Like, I was having
I
conversations
can
with
talk
them.
lots.
Yes, but it didn't mean
I can talk lots,
it.
but I didn't figure out how to pick
It
locks.
was just so interesting that he had built up this idea of who I was, and I didn't identify with that. So it was hard for me to see. It was hard for me
Mm.
to like feel good about it.
I've spent a lot of my life dealing with that.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent I don't. It took till I was 50 to accept maybe people were right that I was sort of charismatic. That
Mm,
people kind of were drawn to me because that's not how I see myself.
right,
I don't look in a mirror and go, ooh, ah.
right,
Quite the opposite.
right,
I see my father,
right.
for the most part, depending on how much beard I'm growing and whether or not I've trimmed my eyebrows. But I've had people that wanted me to be magic. I've had people that wanted me to be the drug guy, the sex guy,
Uh-huh.
the cooking guy, the delivery guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I have always felt I had let people define me in a way that wasn't me.
The one thing I really like about what we try to do is I definitely think that we're both trying our best to be as comfortable as possible
Hmm.
with who we really feel we are.
Right. To exist, we try to exist here for
Um,
you, with the idea that
yeah,
you can
it
exist out there for us too. At the same time, we can't see you, but
the hope
exist.
the hope is that we can bring in more people, and we can really get other people to feel comfortable with being themselves as well.
Right.
And I definitely think that that's like I constantly like wince when he does the spiel and stuff like that about being loving and accepting and stuff like that. But in reality, I really like what we do, and I really like that it feels like we're gonna do something that's gonna be good for other people. And to some extent, I have to set aside my own fears of I don't want to be seen. I have to set aside that wanting to run things from behind the scenes and wanting to not take credit for things. I have to set aside that so that I can hopefully make other people feel more comfortable.
You speak for both of us, brother.
Yeah,
You're dead
that's the
on,
goal,
guys. I'm gonna call it there with this. Yeah. No, that's the point.
pretty much.
We talk. We approach it from a lot of different directions. I try to find interesting ways to talk about the fact that we're complicated, meaning life, things that live are complicated.
Right?
That there's struggle.
So complicated.
So complicated. I mean, if you look at the last 3 weeks, there's glass onion,
Mhm.
There's MLK. There's this.
There's a couple things.
We've
We're trying.
we've done some Seven Dwarfs. It's all discussions on being yourself.
Yeah.
In the end, that's
Yeah.
really what we've come at it from a bunch of different directions, but that
That's what we try to talk about here is pretty much being yourself, trying to figure out where the lines are. But anyways.
I'm gonna give you the Seinfeld reference now. Everybody's fronting, everybody putting on a show for someone. What about a show about not putting on a show?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah.
We're the show
Definitely.
about not putting on a show.
Yeah.
Really and truly.
That's the hope, the goal.
That's the goal. That's what we're
Definitely.
trying to do. Not saying we're gonna get it right every day.
But you know.
I mean, but that's okay too. But at least accepting that people are human and they're trying.
Right.
The other people are trying, whether or not you agree with them. They're at least
Right.
they're trying.
They're trying something.
They are. Really, in the end, I'm just waiting for it to change. Now that I think about it, they can't hear it. Goddamn thing we're saying.
Probably not, no.
Because if I cut it when that happens,